Hello and welcome everyone, it is me TheLaval, also known as the Power To-Do List, back for you with another video. And I've been playing a lot of League of Legends in the recent days and weeks, and that got me thinking, what decks would League of Legends champions play if they were playing the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! This is sometimes based on, visual appearance, sometimes based on gameplay features, and in some cases based on the champion's lore in the broader universe of League of Legends. But yeah, I'll probably, give you guys some basic points about the champion for the uninitiated, I guess. And then go over the reasons for what deck I think they would be playing if they were playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And we are starting off with a rather iconic character in Garen. Garen in game is a very low mobility, mid to high damage, very tanky juggernaut character. In his lore, he is a Knight of the Dauntless Vanguard, which is an elite Demacian military force tasked with directly protecting the king. And he is a very sort of model citizen in Demacia. He stands for the values of Demacia, of, fighting against mages and magic. And also will fight for king and country and do everything in his power for the kingdom. Which is why I think a good fit would be the Noble Knights, particularly the ones based on the Arthurian legends. Kind of having, the Round Table as a sort of equivalent to the Dauntless Vanguard, as this, elite group of knights that is very tightly knit and always holds together and stands for the values of their king. And, also some visual similarities, of course, between, Garen and Boss specifically, with, the very broad shoulder pads, and even some similarities between Excalibur and Garen's sword directly. The fun part about this is that the Noble Knights have some, spellcasters supporting them, like Merlin, which also kind of fits in with Garen, but as Garen normally is a very critical person, let's put it a bit lightly, towards mages, he is in the predicament that his own sister Lux, also a rather well-known character, I'd say, is also a mage, which makes this fitting because he has currently not taken action against his sister. And, in a similar position would probably be the spellcasters in the Noble Knight archetype, where if they, serve the greater good, he will probably be able to tolerate them. But yeah, with this out of the way, we'll be moving on to the next character, which is Jhin. Jhin in-game is a very unique marksman, as in he has a total of 4 shots. He can do 4 auto attacks and then he needs to reload. And his 4th shot deals more damage. The less HP, the more damage his target is missing. Which makes him very interesting to play because that is completely different from most other marksmen. In his lore, he is an artist that has been traveling through the lands of Ionia for the past couple of years and, creates art. And he is very obsessive about his art and wants to make sure that everybody sees the art in, what he creates. But otherwise, he's a very mysterious kind of guy. He plans things through to the end, which makes me believe that magical muskets would be a very fitting pick for him because, as mentioned, he possesses a pistol that he needs to reload, which is also infused with magic, which, makes it on a baseline very fitting. But having this kind of similarity because the magical musketeers also carry firearms that are infused by magic. And also the kind of control-esque playstyle that magical muskets offer, I think would fit very well into his character because, as mentioned, he is a very calculated guy. He very meticulously plans out his artistic performances and takes is very much interested in the details of it, that everything goes perfect, sort of, as a performance in, what he thinks of his performances. Which I think makes Magical Musketeers a very good fit for Jin. But with all that out of the way, we'll be moving on to the next champion. And with this out of the way, we are moving on to, funnily enough, the next gun-based character. But this one is a bit different to Jin. We are talking about Graves. Graves is a Bilgewater resident that has traveled basically most of the lands and committed a lot of crimes in his time. From theft to murder to just gambling and everything, he has probably done it. He's a very shoot first, ask questions later kind of guy with a very explosive temper that doesn't, really resonate well with his current partner in crime known as Twisted Fate. In-game, Graves kind of translates to that. He, just like Jin, is a very unique marksman in that he has to reload after a couple of auto attacks. But in contrast to Jin, he has a lot more burst. He is a lot better at, taking a single target and completely deleting that target, almost like an assassin. And in terms of, what kind of Yu-Gi-Oh deck would fit to him, I think Barrel Dragons or kind of this Dark Machine theme around Heavy Metal Raiders would be very fitting, because not only do the Barrel Dragons fit in a artistic point because he is carrying a double-barreled shotgun, but also the RNG element attributed to them fits his kind of explosive, very not thinking, but, rather relying on, his luck or just his pure strength getting him out of any sort of sticky situation he gets himself into. Which is why those are actually, that I think that would be a good fit. And also, Heavy Metal Raiders, as a namely because he is a known thief and criminal, is kind of cool. Moving on to the only female character on this list, actually, in Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia was a Noxian noblewoman, and she was looking for ancient powers in the Shuriman Desert. I am sure looking for ancient powers in old temples has never hurt anyone. And promptly she basically got transformed into this snake lady that she currently is by a tomb guardian when she betrayed her guide. And by that, I think Reptilian would be a good fit. Not only for visual similarities, but also because, the Earthbound Immortal gives you kind of that tie-in of ancient cultures that have powers that get reawakened, because those got trapped in the Nazca lines in, the 5D's anime, and she was searching for ancient powers in the Shuriman Desert. And with her being a very, late game focused champion that gets better the longer the game takes, and a kind of control mage that is able to either, keep enemies at bay and then deal lots of damage over a consistent portion of time. I think the zero attack thing also works in that way. because Reptilian are focused on, reducing opponents' monsters to 0 attack. And her abilities like her ultimate, her Petrifying Gaze, which stuns her enemies, or her Miasma ability, which is able to stop enemies from using their mobility spells, also fit that bill, because not being able to dash away, in a sense, having 0 attack against her is kind of dangerous. Which will lead us to the last character on the list. And the last character on this list is no other than Azir. Azir is the old Shuriman Emperor who got betrayed by his servant before completing the Ascension ritual, which would turn him into one of the Shuriman god warriors that are known throughout the land, similar to Narcissus and Renekton. But he got revived in the same chain of events that led to Cassiopeia becoming a Snake Lady, when Cassiopeia betrayed his descendant Sivir, essentially at his doorstep, at his tomb. And in-game, similar to Cassiopeia, he is a very late-game focused character. He gets better the longer the game takes. He's able to kind of conjure these sand soldiers that he uses to attack his enemies, and is also, a mage that is able to very well control the battlefield and deal large amounts of damage over a continuous space of time. And I think for that, Triamid would be a very fitting deck, not only for artistic connections, as Shurima is very well based on this kind of Egyptian template where, you have very many influences. As you can see, Azir is clearly based on Ra, where other characters like Narcissus and Renekton draw inspiration from Egyptian gods like Anubis and Sobek. And the field spell gimmick of Triamid, of swapping out field spells depending on your situation, I think fits very well with Azir, as he is able to kind of call upon the Sun Disk that is used to complete the Ascension ritual for the old Shurimans, to be able to defend an area, similar to how towers would work in that game. And yeah, that is kind of it for him. He's a very, I guess, simple guy, because the Sand Soldiers are very hard to translate into Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess. But yeah, with all this out of the way, even if I haven't gotten to kind of talk about my favorite character in Shen and his obvious similarities to some of the ninja cards, I'd like to know your opinion, not only of this format in general, but also if you, in any way, shape, or form, have, interacted with League of Legends at some point in time. What do you think would be some fitting decks for some of the characters from that game to play? Definitely let me know down below. Let me know if you have any better picks for the 5 characters I have discussed in this video today. I'll be, glad to not only read those comments, but also, see input from you guys that you like this kind of format and you would like to see more. Yeah, for everyone who couldn't tell, or I guess wasn't aware, this is a bit based on True Green 7s. What if anime characters had Pokemon teams? I'll probably leave a link to one of those videos in the description below. And yeah, with all this out of the way, I will thank you guys very much for watching. I will see you guys again next time. But until then, goodbye.